All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully you're all enjoying the start to 2025. I know I sure am. Today I'm in the woods to set up a hunting blind and to kick off a bait pile to start my first wolf season. I've never hunted wolves before, and this is going to be a learning experience, hopefully for myself and others who want to watch this type of content. I'm based in Ontario, Canada, and right now it is January 11th. So today, it's a pretty mild day. It's not too cold. It's about -4 degrees Celsius, and we haven't had too much snow this year yet. So it makes for an easy access for me to go ahead and set up my equipment and kick off this bait pile without having to load the skidoo in the back of the truck. So today is a special day for me in terms of finally getting outdoors and getting into the woods in the cold. And the reason why I say that is because I'm unsure if I'm going to be in the cold as much as I'd like this year. For those who know, I'm quite the avid fisherman, and if there's a good day and the weather's not too bad, you can usually find me on the ice during January, February, March. So I like to fish lake trout. I'm starting to get a little bit better at walleye too, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to do too much of that type of fishing because I still deal with quite a bit of neuropathy in my hands. So this year has been unique in the sense of I've gone through chemotherapy and beat testicular cancer for a second time. So this is coming up on 2 years since my initial diagnosis, and right now I'm slowly rebuilding back my body, my mind through different forms of exercise, nutrition, and the outdoors. So I like to use the outdoors as a way to continue to, let's say, expand my horizons, give me some time to shut down and do some self-reflection and thought on, what this experience has taught me and how I could possibly use it to maybe encourage other, not just men, but young adults, including women, to pay more attention to their health, and if something's wrong, to go get things checked out. That's what happened to myself, and to be honest, I'm still here because of it. So, but we're getting to our spot now. Today I am bringing in about 150 pounds of beef scraps and moose, and we're gonna be setting that up. So I got one of my ice shacks with me. I'm gonna be setting up, and we're gonna get things going. Okay, so I'm all loaded up. I got my blind with me, making our way down to a lake that I'm going to be hunting. Right now, I'm hiking down an old skidder trail that's grown in, and I'm going to be accessing a lake to set up this blind on the edge and hopefully set up the bait pile further out. It's around 2 in the afternoon, so I want to get this done before it gets too dark. I'm not hunting today, so I'm just more so scouting and preparing to hunt. I don't have a firearm with me, so if we see anything, we won't be shooting. One of the reasons why I'm hiking everything in here too is to stay pretty quiet, mind you. Today I'll be making a little bit more noise than normal just with the setup and filming, but I don't plan on using a snowmobile this year for my wolf hunt. So another reason why I'm doing that is I'm hunting a pretty remote lake. There still is some traffic in the general area, but I could access it without disturbing too many people and maybe having people follow my tracks. I think that's probably the best case scenario. It's pretty thick in here today. We'll figure it out. We're almost there. Such a nice day out here. This is the challenge I have after chemo. I get tired incredibly fast now. My lungs still haven't recovered 100%. We're not sure if they will, but you better still keep sending it. You can see my tracks from where I was here last week scouting. Okay, so I'm gonna set up my shelter right here. I gotta trim a few branches, and then I'm gonna set up the shack here facing this way. The lake opens up here and the shoreline runs along that way. So right now you can tell I'm standing along the shoreline of this lake. My plan is to set up the bait 50 to 100 yards off the shoreline into the lake on the ice, and then set up here to make sure my access point can be behind the trees that I showed you. So I come through the woods, I don't have to come out into the open space, and I still get a lot of coverage when I'm accessing my shack. I have windows in the shack, so that'll be super helpful when it comes down to positioning. Myself and having a few different shooting lanes. I'm gonna put the door facing my access so I can sneak in behind the shack and hop right in without having to come around and possibly expose myself if there's a wolf out front. With the wolves, I want to be super attentive for obviously scent as well as their sight and hearing, right? Obviously wolves have really keen senses and they'll bust me super easily. So not sure if I could sneak in here totally undetected, but once I'm in the shack, I should be safe. The prevailing winds are coming this way. Here in Ontario, we get westerly winds that come across the provinces. So what I'm thinking is with the bait further out, the scent will blow further into the woods and hopefully attract them off the shoreline in the woods that I'm hunting. So with my access, it doesn't risk any, let's say, being busted by wolves, hopefully, unless I'm hunting a really strange wind. But if that's the case, I'd rather just stay home. This is the Otter Vortex cabin. This is one of my go-tos for a small pop-up. If you're looking for something that's really well insulated, super high quality product, consider this for ice fishing. This is the first time I'm going to be using it for hunting, but throw a heat source in it. It has removable windows, the whole 9 yards. Super impressed with this, but we're going to continue setting this up and I'll show you more specs about it later on. Here's the window I'm probably going to be shooting at. Gives me good visibility. I can still use it as a brace too. I actually may switch things up. I may actually put the door facing this way. And since I can still sneak in here with a good amount of coverage coming down the tree line, it gives me more angles to shoot from. I just have the one window that I can shoot out with my one shooting lane. I got a good amount of coverage, but still, I'd like to get some better angles. So if I set it up like this, I may change it. I'm not sure. We'll deal with it. I plan on being out here for some time, I might as well get comfortable. So I brought out a chair and a table. So to keep my tent from blowing away, I'm just gonna tie it to the trees around that I'm using for coverage. That's not going anywhere. All right, guys, so I'm running out of daylight right now. It's around 4 o'clock. I got about 45 minutes until sunset with about a half-hour hike back to the truck. So right now I'm gonna continue to work on the blind. I wanna make sure that's camouflaged the best that I can. And then I'll probably come on out here and set up my bait pile tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be setting it up behind me along that shoreline, probably about 50 yards out. And hopefully I'll be able to get a really good angle from the blind to take a shot. But starting to snow right now. We're supposed to get some snow tonight, not too much. But I'm excited to get this wolf hunt going. But I wanna make sure that I make as few mistakes as I can while setting up. So for me, the priority will be set up the blind, make sure that's dialed in, because once I start the bait pile and it gets hit, it'll just be really the hurry to keep that stocked up. But I'm gonna keep on working. Hopefully you guys like this, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Oh, made it to the lake, finally. I think bringing in 2 boxes of bait is probably too much for myself. This hike usually takes me 30 minutes, but today it took me an hour and 15 minutes with the bait. So even though I'm going downhill, the woods behind me I'm coming through are just super thick. So it makes coming to the lake a lot harder. So I think I might have to adjust my strategy, maybe come out here more often, maybe with 1 box at a time or 50 pounds and set it up. So I may adapt my hunting strategy with that, but who knows. I'm gonna keep on going, and we'll catch you at the bait site. Okay, so I made it to the bait site. We're on the lake. I'm not sure if you can see the blind behind me. It's camoed in, but I'm about 152 yards away from where I'm standing. So I'll have roughly a 150 yard shot. I'm about 45 yards off the shoreline, so that'll be plenty enough. This will be where I set up my first bait site. I may move one further out, but that'll be at a later time. Today we're just gonna do this one. Okay, so we got everything set up. Give you a closer look. There we go. Just gonna get that last piece of paper. There we are. That's what we're kicking with. There's my shack all the way down there. But now we're gonna get all our stuff, head down there, and set the drone up in the sky and give you a good understanding of the layout of my setup. On my way to the hunting blind, I think it makes sense to probably set up a tree camera since I have one with me. So right now I'm going to take a stump, drive it into the snow. You can see the bait pile behind me. I'm going to set up on the shoreline, and then I'll come out later on this week with my ice hogger, drill a hole in the ice, and probably set it up a little closer. But for now, this will do. I'm still trying to figure this out, but I have to admit, baiting by hand without a skidoo or four-wheeler definitely is harder than I expected, but we're gonna stick with it. All right, the camera's switched to on. We got eyes on the bait. Time to keep going back to the blind. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoy those drone shots and you have a better understanding of where and how I'm going to be hunting next week. So I won't be using these actively during hunting season. For me, it is illegal, so I can't use drones by any means, either to hunt or to harvest. So that also means finding. In some parts of the United States, people are using drones to actively pick up deer and find injured deer as well, which is really neat. But that's not legal here yet where I'm living here in Canada. So for the operation of my drone today, everything's legal. I've confirmed it with our Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, as well as Transportation Canada. So that's a big thing. If you're going to be using drones in, let's say, Crown land, just make sure you're following all the guidelines or regulations and things of that sort. So along the tree line, there's a small little river that connects to the lake. It's frozen up, and that's how I'm going to access it. As you can tell, I have a lot of coverage. I'll also be wearing camo. Sneaking into the blind sounds easy with the snow, but coming through the woods can be tricky, breaking branches. So right here you can still tell I have a lot of trees in coverage. So this is the only dicey part. So we have the bait out there. I have to basically make a 6-foot jump into my tent and then hop on in. This is a 152-yard shot to the bait pile. I still have a good distance between the shoreline and the bait pile for when wolves come out. On the other side of the lake, it's about 550 yards from this spot, and I should be able to see anything coming across. So that's it for today. I'm going to pack up my gear, start making my way back to the truck. It's been an awesome day out here. Hauling in that bait definitely kicked my butt. So I have to go back to my strategy on bringing bait in without hopefully getting busted by wolves and people. So I don't want people to access my spot right now. It's a pretty quiet, isolated lake. There is still traffic within probably 2 kilometers away. And I just want to make sure that I could hunt privately and not bother anyone as well. So just trying to be a respectful hunter, person who enjoys the outdoors. But for all my bait boxes too, I'm bringing all the garbage out with me. That's really important for me. Sure, it has a lot of blood and scent on it too, but still, I don't want to litter. That's just not my jam. But hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff, and we'll get it back out here next week when we're hunting.